Okay, well, here we are ready to start playing Unhappy King Charles. And since I've got the box holding the cards, there's no way I'm going to show that picture. It's a great picture, though. It's actually very pleasing to me. Alright, following the sequence of play, we're going to start with the housekeeping phase. Now, every time I start a new game that I'm not real familiar with, and I've only played this once before, it is sort of a painful startup cost. It's been hard for me to get this going today, but let's take a look. Transfer generals, now each place a PC mark. This is started with, for the Protestant or parliamentary player, and he's got an event card in here. This is a combat advantage card. He's got this white coats card. This is no good. This is an event card for the opposing player, and the rest of his cards are all point cards. That's just really to help inform his decision. I'm not quite sure what to do, though. I just got to slap something down. I've got to slap it down away from the blue counter, so I couldn't put it here, for example. Where do I want to put it? Well, I think I'll just toss it down here at King's Lynn. And likewise, the Catholic player has an equivalent position he gets to do. Now, placing this may not be an optimal choice. Same reason placing this might not be, because he's got a local notable in that area. Where else could he go, though? What kind of area could he jump into? Well, this looks kind of pleasing. That's kind of not really right in there with his notables. Okay, so that's where we are there. Now this is late 1642. So we got to pick a counter here. And I'll just shake this up and grab one. And what do we get? This is one of the naval counters. Sweeping the seas, +2. No real instruction about what it is. There may be something in the thing. But now, the fact that the naval counter has slipped into the positive area means that royalist armies that are bombarding a port during the special blockade phase have a penalty. Okay. There's no other effect on the recruiting or anything yet, but when we hit +3, there will be. So that's kind of already showing parliamentary advantage in the naval game. My wife, she was playing the royalists. She got a quick jump in her favor on the first turn, which is kind of unlikely, but it's neat to have the royalists have naval advantage for a little while. All right. There's no political control phase on the first turn, so we don't worry about two things. One is we're already sitting on areas that have the PC market, but in particular, Parliament doesn't lose this space. They have a chance to fight for Wales right from the beginning of the game. Kind of cool. Now we go to the recruitment phase. Each side gets to recruit 2 brigades. I've got a combat card I like. More than that, I also have a combat card for the royalist player that he's not going to get. That's kind of cool, too. Now, if I look at my leaders, Lord Fairfax isn't too good. He's got a 2 strategy and a 1 combat. He doesn't really compare to King Charles there. Essex is very good, but he doesn't have anyone he's terribly facing. So here's one of my first, Bedford. Bedford's not terribly good either. I'd rather have Waller pulling troops in, but Waller's not going to get anything. So I'm going to pull a southern troop, and this has to be, hey, bonus. I get a 2-pointer because all there are 2-pointers left. This has to be, I have to pick the top, one of the top southern troop in order to use him in this recruitment center. Now the other question is, who else is going to get one? Now I can put one in one of these parliamentary notables, and that's kind of cool because it gives them more defense, but I'm worried about Fairfax, so I'm going to draw him, because he only has 1 unit, I'm going to draw him a northern guy. Now this is just a militia. It's got to be because that's on the top. Ooh. Oh, I only get 1 unit. Alright, because I only get 1 here. So I'll give this to Bedford and give him the 3rd unit. Now he's only allowed to have 4 under his command, but that's okay. 3 is a good number. And now we go to the Royalists. Now the Royalists have their special advantage, which is being able to use the Powis Bridge effect. So they're going to be able to grab a veteran unit no matter what. Now for my leaders, Hopton, and I get to know what the Protestants have done, but I see Hopton's kind of at risk here. Newcastle, well, Newcastle's probably away from the game where he is. I could, no, I couldn't. I was thinking I could pull somebody down here, but, oh yeah, I could. And that's a Welsh unit that I could grab there, a Western unit, which if I did, I could drop a good leader into place. That might be appealing. Another possibility is to give Hopton some troops. I feel kind of comfortable with what Charles has compared to what he's facing. He's got a pretty good force there. Now Rupert is very powerful, and he's kind of a pleasing option as well. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at my cards as the Catholic player, see what I've got. Okay, or as the Royalists. Kent for king, place up to 2 in any open non-fortress in the south. That's kind of pleasing. I've got the mandatory that I'm going to have to play. I have Charles Cavendish, up to 2 in the north or east. And this can remove PC markers, which is kind of impressive. So I'm going to be able to put a kind of a hurt on the PC markers. One thing that I've noticed in my game with my wife was you want to get rid of these local notables as quickly as possible. They're really painful at the early stage of the game. They're what help keep the Protestant in the game, I think. So I think what I'm going to do, did I have significant 1-point cards? I have 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a Western Elite unit. I'm going to drop it over here. Give a good size force to Rupert. He shows up here. And that's going to give me a significant power to work with. Now, I didn't really need all that force for Rupert. He's not really facing much right now. Maybe that was too much to give to him. Yeah, I think that's too much. I think I'm going to hold off on Rupert for now. I'm not going to put that Welsh unit into play yet. I don't think I really need it. I just think that Rupert handling these local notables can do it on his own. Hopton worries me more, so I'm going to give him instead a veteran unit. Great. All right, where am I? I'm at the draw strategy cards. There isn't one. Now we go to the campaign phase. And at this point, the Catholics have to choose who's going to go first. I'm going to take a little moment to think about this off camera. Okay, my decision, because the Royalists have the Raising the Standard card, they get to control the flow of things. Let's make parliamentarians play their first card. They're not going to get to make military actions right away. All right, well, what do we want to do? There are a lot of options here. One is grab some more troops. I don't have to do that right away, though. It's kind of a neat factor here, because I know that the Raising of the Standard is going to have to be done first. Now, if I look at the rules for Raising of the Standard, and each of these special cards has a significant set of rules. You can see this one's just a couple paragraphs. This one's not much larger, but the new model army takes quite a bit. Neither side can remove enemy PC markers during movement, so you can't move into a territory and convert it. And Waller cannot move. Now, if Parliament had this in their hand, it would include an additional recruitment for them, but they don't have it. So, it doesn't really give Parliament any bonus. What I'm looking at is I got this Royalist card. It's not worth a lot. I don't know what else I want to do, but this seems like a good card to play right now. And I'm going to use it for 1 point. I can't use it to activate a leader, but I can use it to use one of my local notables. Now, in particular here, I'm going to try to look, what can I sort of gain control of? Maybe by cutting things off. Well, this is an interesting location. Do I have a notable there? I don't. I don't have one within range of that. I have this guy, but he can only operate in his own purple area. So if I don't have a notable, and I can only in that range, well, I have a 2-space range. How about I flip this, and I'm going to start to try to hook up to my Welsh space there and prevent the Royalists from keeping me cut off there. Now we got to go to the Royalist player, and he's got some interesting cards as well that I wanted to look at here. He's got these ops cards, but he also has these two in an open or enemy controlled. He can hit it in the north or east, and he's got one that he could play in the south. Well, I'm going to do one of these. I don't know which one, north or east or south. Well, it's going to be tough to cut the east off in any sense of the word. The north, again, doesn't look easy at this point without taking some further steps. So what about in the south? Do I have any actions I can take there? In particular, it's got to be open or enemy-controlled non-fortress. Oh. All right, I'm going to go for the south with the Kent for King card, and that puts 2 in any open or enemy controlled in the south. I'm going to flip this and this. This doesn't really do me much, but it does kind of strengthen my hand over there. And now we're back on the Parliament player, and he again still can't fight. He's got to look at his cards. Now he doesn't want to use this. This is a good combat card. He's got some operations cards. I think it may be time to call up the troops. And I'm going to play one of my operations cards. Again, I'm just really delaying for time here. One of my ops cards to grab some more forces. And I could give Bedford another unit. Of course, that makes him big. Big isn't necessarily terribly good in this game. It slows down. You can see a couple of things it does. One is it slows down your movement. You go down to 3 movement points instead of 4, which means you can convert less. And Bedford's got a decent force here. 4 strength points, that's not bad. Waller has 1 strength point only. If he added that, he couldn't subordinate Bedford, who he could otherwise subordinate. So that's kind of a risky situation. He kind of would like to get Waller down here and in control because he has that 1 strategy rating, which can be very, very helpful. All right, well, what are my other options? I can trust troops in the north under Fairfax, and don't get them confused with the other Fairfax. And I get 2 units because I'm using an operations card for this. So I'll take the other one, I think in the east under Essex, or maybe just toss it somewhere under one of these minor leaders for now. Let's see what we can do with one of the local notables. how about we put it, well, I could drop it down in the west. I don't have any extra leaders though, so that wouldn't really help me. In the Midlands, I've got a couple of options for people I could give it to. I gave one to Fairfax. He's able to pick that up there. Yeah. How about I put an eastern one here under Willoughby and strengthen his position a little bit there. It gives him more defenses, and it also gives me a chance to maybe walk up with Essex and pick that up later with a little bit more ease. Okay. Well, we're definitely taking our time on this. I think I want to do at least one more of these royalist actions. Now this is kind of weird because in a sense raising the standard would be kind of nice, but I want to keep delaying and seeing what happens. So I'm going to place 2 PC markers in any open or enemy controlled in the north or east. Well, can flip these 2. Alternatively, let's take a look at what I could do in the east with 2. Not a lot. It's just so easy to get out of here. Yeah, I'm going to take the 2 northern ones. Oh, that's not north. Alright, we'll go for eastern ones then, I guess. Well, it's going to be hard to keep control of the eastern ones. Alright, I'm going to play raising the standard, I think. Or else, maybe I'll play my Grandy card. Let's see what comes with my Grandy card. Brigades must be placed in the regional in the command box of a non-subordinated regional general or local notable. Yeah, see, I can't recruit with most of the leaders I want. I could drop down here under Hopton, except he's not in a recruitment zone. And otherwise, I could drop him into some of the local notables. Alright, well this is my notable. If I spend a 1-point card with him, I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend a 1-point core card on this local notable. And I got to put the core cards separate from the others so they don't end up in the discard pile. What I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this back to royalist, strengthening, this back end position. If they can't get this, it falls to me, and that's cool. And I'll load this one up as the first half of my first turn. I certainly will not be playing in this much detail through most of the game. All right.